I'm Aaron Perine, co-host of Phase Hero, and I listen to Aurora Comics Podcast.
My name is Joseph Illidge, groundbreaking writer and editor.
I'm Aaron Perine, co-host of Phase Hero.
I'm T. Franklin, a Black, queer, disabled, award-winning, best-selling comic book writer.
This is Preach Jacobs, hip-hop artist and founder of Colacon, the nation's only hip-hop comic convention.
Hi, my name is Carla.
Hi, I'm Ebony.
We talk about health, culture,
and comic books.
I listen to.
And I listen to.
Tune into.
You're tuned into.
And I watch Aurora's podcast. And I watch Aurora Comics Podcast.
Aurora Comics Podcast.
The Aurora Comics Podcast.
Aurora Comics Podcast.
You guys should be listening to
the Aurora Comics Podcast.
Yes, if you're not, there's something wrong with you. There's really something wrong with you. This is the best podcast. It's like parallel to my podcast. It's right there. They're back and forth.
Yes.
Sure.
Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, y'all. My name is Moon Carla, a.k.a. Moon the Storyteller. I am here with Aaron Perine, one of the greatest entertainment journalists I have had the pleasure of virtually meeting. I am a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a nurse, I'm a voice actor, I'm the creator of Luna, a comic book series from Concrete Comics, and a podcast host. Ebony could not be with us today. But she sends her love. And she's just wants to say she also I introduced her to the show. I don't know if she's actually been able to listen to any of the episodes, but she's gonna fall in love just like I did. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love what you guys are doing over here. I heard that the invitation got extended. I was super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, my people. You know, in the content space, there are some of us, but it's always fun to link up again. And we've worked together before during Virtuous Con, so it's like fun. It's a reunion.
Yes. And that's how I was introduced to the show. Formerly Phase Zero, now it's Phase Hero. So I love it. I love what you all are doing over there too. All right, so let's jump right into it. So take us back to the moment you picked up your first comic book or manga, whichever one you prefer. When did you know you wanted to be a part of this world?
So I've always had a thing for television, movies, like comic books, stuff like that from a really young age. So I'm sure like earlier, like there's a lot of funny little like stories of me coming into the room to report things that are going on the television to my mother or my grandma. If you go back far enough in the early 90s, in the prehistoric era that we hail from. But I also remember, I think the first comic I got, if I'm not mistaken, like it probably was like a JLU tie-in thing from a Justice League Unlimited tie-in thing from like Pizza Hut or something. But like I really came into like trying to read the comics, weirdly enough. Cleveland Plain Dealer, when my mom moved us out there, used to print like the original Spider-Man run, like the old Ditko 1950s comics in the Plain Dealer for free. So there was a period of a couple months there in like 2005 or 2006 where I was like getting to the paper quicker than anybody else because I'm like, I got to know. I want to see what happens. He's fighting the Vulture this week. And that's like such a weird thing, but like it's accessible for kids and it's free, or at least like I wasn't paying for it. So I'm like, I'm going to read all of these and like saving them. It was really fun.
Wow. It's interesting to always hear people's first introduction to comics, especially as kids, because that usually is our core memory. That's one of the things, like comic books or a movie or a release, just something exciting that shapes us into who we are. So it's always interesting to hear the answers to this question. So how long have you been an entertainment journalist, and how did you become a part of that world?
Oh goodness. So I started the journalism path in undergrad at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. I was undecided to start out. So if anybody here is watching and is like, I don't know exactly what I want to do the second I get there, neither did I. And you kind of just figure it out. I originally was in like a sports journalist capacity. I was a beat reporter, writer for Fear the Sword, SB Nation blog about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I did that like as like a freelance thing throughout school, trying to find my way. I had an opportunity to do an activation with Nike in 2010 for the LeBron James World Tour. And I started to kind of figure out that this was something that you could really like do. Like it was like a real job. And I was like, I can't believe this is a real job. I think I want to do this. And then from there, I did some odd jobs and stuff, went back to school, answered the call for like the whole SB Nation thing, and got to work for British company called Gimme Sport. They do mostly boxing and soccer content, but back then they were trying to press into basketball, and they needed somebody in Cleveland, and they saw my writing. So I got to really be on the beat every day, going, covering the team, learning how to write a game story, learning how to summarize, learning how to find sources, interview people. And it just so happened that your first year or whatever, 6 months on the beat is when they win a championship. And it's like a wild thing where like, I'm in there with older journalists who are like been on the beat for a long time, and they're like, this kid rolled in here and in 3 months, wow, look, championship. Oh, it's such a good story, blah, blah, blah. Kid, you're good luck. And I'm like, I guess I just here, I didn't know they were gonna win. I'm happy about it. And then that took me to New York for social media side of this thing for another media company. And then when my wife, who's a doctor, medical professional like you, got a job somewhere else, we had to move, which meant I couldn't do my sports job anymore. And comic book previously, Paramount had an opportunity for me, and I took it. And then you find yourself writing about the comics and TV shows and movies I had spent most of my early 20s and late teenager years, like writing and obsessing about. So it was a really good fit.
Wow, that is interesting. And you wasn't even looking in the comic book world. Yeah, but thank you to your wife for pulling you away from sports into the comic book world. Yeah, yeah.
She's gonna be so happy with yours. This is like, I did it. I helped. Look at that. It's all really me.
Yeah, I mean that move created. I was saying a little bit before we started recording. What you're doing on Phase Hero with your three other co-hosts it's changed the game for a lot of us, because like I said, there's a lot of great comic book podcasts, but your podcast was the first one that actually faithfully followed and really was like, okay, maybe I should give this a second look, because you all bring very diverse opinions and reviews, but it's not like you're not fighting each other. You're not, well, that's crazy talk. You know how some podcasts do. So your work is, I mean, it's award winning. And hopefully you all will start submitting yourselves to these award shows, because what you're doing in the podcast genre is amazing. It really is. It really is. So y'all need to be submitting y'all stuff. Pay that money. Just pay that money. Pay that money and submit y'all stuff. Because some of the stuff it'd be like $200, $300, $400. We was trying. I was going to submit our podcast for the NAACP award. But when I saw how much it costs to answer, I said, we got to get some more sponsors before we do this. We got to get some more sponsors. So, definitely submit y'all stuff to these award shows.
do that.
Yeah. So, how has your culture influenced your work? And was it intentional?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you have like a deep, abiding love in something, I guess, before, but maybe it's not what you do every day, it doesn't go away. Like it's always kind of just there, right? I come from a cusp, like millennial sort of standpoint where we grew up and there wasn't like the internet to tell you absolutely every single thing immediately, right? But you, as you got to be an adult, that you got more and more of the world around comics and the world around superheroes and stuff opened up to you, and you come at it from a perspective of a black person in this country, right? The funny thing is that when you see this, like I seen this question, I heard this question, I was like, oh wow, because that's really how I ended up on the show with Brandon and Jenna and Jamie was during the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Originally I wasn't in the lineup for the show. Like I, kind of like the last edition that they made before we really solidified it was going to be the four of us. I had written a piece about Isaiah Bradley and Tuskegee syphilis study for a comic book, a long form thing that, people were like, well, I mean, you know what? You can just write this. Like you obviously know what you're talking about. We had got assigned the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks in college and undergrad to read about. So, and I read Truth, and the two things kind of just meshed in my brain. I'm like, wow, this is really crazy. And then when they said they were going to have it in like Sam Shaw, I was like, oh my God, like what? Like we're really doing this? Okay.
Yes.
So I wrote that piece, and then Brandon asked me to come and like talk about it. And from that one or two test appearances, he was like, you know what? If you're down with this, we really could. I think this is like a good mixture of all of us together to have in this show and go moving forward, because everybody has their own perspectives and brings like a sort of fun interplay to how we discuss all of our topics. So my own culture and understanding of like those issues as it relates to like a Black American experience or like, a Black nerd experience really kind of opened the door for me to even be a part of any of this. It helped to completely pave the way. Like if I don't read the Henrietta Lacks book and I don't know about the Tuskegee study and all this other stuff I did in undergrad, a decade beforehand, I never end up on the show.
Yeah.
It all kind of works together.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about comic books is you can see how diverse all of us are. And I really like it when I see Marvel and DC. I'm not really too into Image. But Bitterroot is on my reading list, so
That's good.
But I love it when I see Marvel and DC take those risks because, for decades they never took any risks when it come to bringing in authentic voices. But now we see them taking, and it's not even a risk now. It's just what they should be doing. But I'm glad that, that BD saw that opportunity to bring in another voice. Because yeah, I love it when you mention Ironheart. Like the other day, you mentioned Ironheart. Yeah, I can't wait for Ironheart, and I cannot wait to see you unpack that show. I'm trying to get Miss Shanaka Hodge on the show. Y'all probably will have her first, I'm sure. But once she interviews with y'all, send her our way.
Now, after we get the interview, I'm definitely gonna tell her like,
I want to, and Ryan Coogler is on the Ironheart as well, and then Dr. Eve Ewing. She directed a few of the episodes too. So we're trying to get all of them. But I cannot wait to hear your perspective and just really unpack. I want to ask you this though, because not a lot of people liked Secret Wars. Was it Secret Wars? What, the Samuel L. Jackson?
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So not everybody liked it. I actually loved it, with the exception of the last episode. I felt it was a little cliche. But up until like the last episode, I really loved the duality of what that show represented. It basically, to me, the duality of the Black man. he's been asked to try to save the world, this impossible task, but at the same time balancing home and balancing his obligation to his country. And it was just a really amazing metaphor and an analogy for what Black men go through. So, you know, when you come to your like culture and your work has really been sometimes been concentrated in bringing light to some of these inequities, such as what happened to Miss Henrietta Lacks in the Tuskegee syphilis study. When you look at shows like that, first of all, did you like the show? And two, what did you take away from the show?
I wasn't as quite as harsh on it as some of my co-hosts and the internet at large was, because I just don't feel like a lot of this stuff is worth getting that upset about. Like, there's other real stuff to really be getting mad about. I enjoyed that duality too, actually. And one of the pieces I wrote, actually, I was just kind of, while you were saying that, looking up, trying to make sure I have it right. But they make a lot of mention of like Paul Robeson in the early parts of that, and it just kind of flew over most of the audience's heads, and you would not catch it if you don't know about like a great actor from the past, great Black actor from the past, right? Robeson's in you know, the Emperor Jones and all these other amazing Oscar Michaud era, like sort of like Negro epics, right? And he's constrained by his time because he's like a tremendous actor and this like phenomenal singer, and also a second-class citizen in his own country. And then he goes abroad too, and it's this kind of weird duality where everybody in Germany or Russia finds him to be like a phenom, right? But it's very much clouded in this whole, but you're one of the good ones. You're not like those other Black people over in America, right? Although he did get treated, he does in his autobiographies and some of the other biographies written about it, he did get treated better over there than he did in America, which is also kind of an interesting sort of like thing to layer on to Nick Fury when you're talking about a man without country, as it were, a man looking for a little bit of purpose after, you know, a big purple alien snatched half the universe out of existence. You know what I mean? So those things, and then the thing with his wife too, being of dual sort of ancestry, where she's a Skrull and has sacrificed a lot for this man, and also, you know, understands that this is the union she entered into as well, right? Like that. She has to understand he's very flawed, as well as, you know, being this sort of strong figure for the rest of MCU and the world at large. So those sort of things kind of ended up going over by the wayside because everybody was mad about the finale or Maria Hill dying or Gaia or any of this stuff, the other stuff that happened, or even the Rhodey stuff, which I was like, if you're on YouTube enough, on the Marvel YouTube, and I am deep in the weeds with some of these creators. There are people who had called the Rhodey twist in that show like 2-3 years ago. Like they had already said that's probably what's going to happen or whatever. So when it happened, I was like, they're not really going to do this. I guess so. All right. And you can't get mad at signposting for the internet because, you know, our reading comprehension is so low around here these days. And I was like, well, they had to do it, guys. I don't know what to say. Brandon was so very sad when the finale came down because he's like, you telling me Rhodey wasn't there when Tony Stark died? And I'm like, I mean, Monica wasn't there when her mama died in WandaVision, and we didn't have this like 12-gun salute. Like, it happens, unfortunately. So those are the things, I guess, if you have a different perspective or a different upbringing, you might miss or not really be thinking about, be locked in. I'm just one of the people. I had a film minor at Case, and so the Robeson stuff and Emperor Jones stuff. As soon as you mentioned Paul Robeson, I was like, wait a second, like what? Like I'm like, yeah. And then I went and looked and watched some of the concerts, and here he is, this Black man in like 1930s, singing in front of like a big orchestra out here, and all these white people who are otherwise kind of not great on race, celebrating him as like this hero and giving him citizenship and stuff. But also at the same time, he's never quite treated as like a full man, And if that makes any sense, it's an interesting thing. And I was like, that tracks on to Nick, but no one's gonna care about that because there's a lady with a scroll arm flying around, and that's what everybody wants to talk about.
Yeah, I do feel like I do feel it went over the point of the show went over people's heads. And I did a whole live with another creator, two other creators about it, and we love the show. We love the show. And I think this is before we saw the finale. And I mean, the finale was okay, but I just wish they had some more. I like maybe put some more writers in the room, maybe do a season 2. I feel like somebody came in the room and was like, okay, y'all, we got to wrap this up. Let's come on.
Well, the other thing too is that we had Joanna Robinson from The Ringer, delightful writer, delightful podcaster, House of R podcast. It's very funny. They're very silly together. I like her and her co-host quite a bit. But her book about the MCU says that like the budget got kind of unwieldy, and there's some real like, hey, it was grand opening, grand close, and we got to get this thing in the can to happen near the end of the show. And if you read her book and listen to her and Mallory Rubin talk about it on the show, it's like, woo, boy, okay. So maybe some of the trying to make a lot of stuff at the same time kind of bit it in the butt a little bit. But I still don't think it was this massive, crazy disaster. Like you saw all the YouTube thumbnails. I'm just like, if y'all think this is the worst show y'all have ever seen, you need to watch it. You need to get on Tubi and really start digging and seeing what's out there, because there's a lot of stuff. Right. But yeah, that's what I feel you. There are some definite tensions for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me jump down here to question the number 5. What is the future of entertainment journalism for creators of color?
Oh boy. Some of these are really heady and I appreciate them, but I'm also like, oh boy, how do you fix everything? Read Richard Times to fix everything. So I think that social media has become a sort of way in which to address a lot of these things, right? Like the independent creator economy on TikTok, on Instagram, on all these different social platforms, YouTube, etc., is so broad that you have been able to craft a lane for yourself without being attached to an outlet that has allowed a lot more creators of color to come to the forefront. I love Ron from over at Geeks of Color. There's like Frankie does delightful work over there with Stream on Max and like other breakdowns of fun stuff. I always end up watching the videos. Cleo Thomas does a tremendous job doing a little bit of parachuting in to do some Marvels of DC when he's not doing his Disney stuff, because he's the Disney collector on these platforms. And of course, Julian Estrada Goofy does a really tremendous job too, as well, breaking down, live reacting to stuff when it occurs. But it's still, even after 2020, even after some of the monetary investment that happened into, like creators of color being journalists or content creators or whatever, there still hasn't been the complete extension of Olive Branch for you to have as big of a profile as some of these other random TikTok creators, or the people who make social short form video, I guess, if I want to be grown up about it and call them what it's supposed to be called. So that sort of, like, I guess self-funding, self-starting is still absolutely necessary. I mean, you guys are doing it. I mean, the funniest thing about the last 3 or 4 years to me is that the numbers show you that the desire for content that talks to and addresses things that are popular culture from a person of color context, or other non quote unquote normal viewer, because what does that even mean, context, is still very high, and there's an appetite for it.
Supercell.
Yeah, I mean, the season 2 got greenlit before the thing was even over. I was like, before we even got done watching episodes, I was like, oh wow, season 2's already coming. Awesome. And this thing got no promo from the mothership. Can someone explain? You know what I mean?
I
We're
know. I was
spending,
like, what is this? And we binged it in 2 days.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I do feel that way. I feel
Mm-hmm.
the same way when I look at some of the creators on these platforms, and some of the creators that are their algorithms are pushing, um have modeled the whole their speech and their flow from creatives of color, and I'm just like, wow, this person has 1 million followers, but none of this is them. That none of this is them. This has all been taken from, this creator over here who has a smaller platform. So but so how do you, where do you, how do we, if a producer, let's say a producer who's looking
Yeah,
for a new show, let's say that is watching this podcast,
sure.
what would you say to them when it comes to giving creatives of color bigger platforms?
I like what you said earlier about it not really being a risk per se. I don't think it's really a risk anymore. I think that you're going to see even more. It's already started. Traditional media sources start to partner more than like even licensing these smaller creators to help raise their profile because quite honestly, a younger audience, they're not watching broadcast things in the same way that maybe me or you or even someone slightly younger than me might. They get all their stuff from the people they trust and the people that they watch on their phones all the time. So I think that you're going to have to extend some trust back to creators of color to help bail some of these institutions out. Funny enough, as it were, because you're going to need to, in the Simpsons joke way, you're going to need to borrow some credibility from some creators that have been maybe normally shut out of these conversations, shut out of these opportunities. You know what I mean? I have said though, like the last couple of years, I've seen more people of color on these carpets and in these junket weighted rooms than probably I have ever seen prior, which is good than when I started. But there's still such a way to go. You know what I mean? You can't just be, I don't know, can't just be out here asking people to do stuff during February. You need to be out doing outreach all year round. It's a nice thing. Some of the studios are doing a better job, but I think they're starting to sort of get some of it.
Right.
You look at these exit interviews on some of these box office smashes, and you see what the splits are for viewership, and you can't avoid color. You can't ignore that. Like,
Yeah.
my brown brothers and sisters, black people, we show up and buy tickets just like everybody else. Like, you need to figure out what you're gonna do because it's a different world out here now than it was maybe when I started or when I was a little bit younger. Not to date myself too bad, but change happens fast.
I still got some years on you though. Still got some years on you. Yeah,
This helps.
I'm an
This
80s
helps.
baby.
This helps. I don't know. I could never guess. It's like, oh, I don't know. I'll never take that bet.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna jump down to because I like I said, I don't want to take up your time.
Oh, you're good. I'm just sitting here down. Like, we good. You can ask me whatever you want.
All right. Okay. 2 more questions.
Sure.
When people read about your contributions to the culture, what do you want them to say about you?
Ooh, wait. Like I said, some of these are really interesting. I guess, being a child of people who are only, 2 generations removed from like sharecropping and stuff like that, they always wanted me to be like a good citizen over more than, they didn't want me to be rich. They didn't want me to be famous. They wanted me to be a good neighbor to my neighbors, and they wanted me to positively impact the communities I was in, right? So the trite sort of Cody Rhodes WWE-esque answer is to leave things in better shape than when you can, right? You did to extend some sort of stewardship over the space that you inhabited. So, when we go into these rooms, when we go into these places to interview these people, it's not just 3 or 4 of us. You know what I mean? There's more opportunity. Someone else will give somebody else a chance. Someone else will see the value in having another perspective. I think that a lot of times, especially times like now when things are so uncertain, that people retreat into what they know, right? Even to their detriment, I'll say, and in order for us to all grow and all flourish, sometimes I think you really do have to extend some real faith in, some viewpoints that maybe you on paper don't look like they'd be like a slam dunk or whatever, but once you get in there, you prove you're more than capable of handling whatever's getting thrown at you in like a real way. So I think that leaving everything in a better spot where there's more opportunities for people, and that if you can help create those opportunities, like, I try, and whenever there's a younger person like asking about how to do this, I'm very upfront about it, because I will say, kids, it's been a brutal year for journalism. If you don't really love this, please go find what you would like to do instead. If you can't live without it, then welcome. But just know the highlights of like what our days look like on social media, especially like a job like mine or like yours, it's not always that. Some days are just hard. Some days you just like, I would tell people, my young cousins and other young people, friends of family, they'd be like, your job must be so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're seeing the highlights of a year. You're seeing the highlights of what's going on. It's a lot of grunt work going on behind the scenes to make these interviews happen, to go to these junkets, to react to these things, to put on these shows. It's not just like, okay, we just wake up and we just do it in the show every day, and I clock out and that's all we do. And you're working behind the scenes all the time, especially now. Now I'm not attached to an outlet like I was before. But trying to let young people know that, you can be out here. You can do this. Like it's not like something that's out of reach or you can't possibly do this. Cause I'm sure there's people being like, well, like, I don't know, it's unrealistic or whatever. I used to get that kind of stuff all the time. And I'd be like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm only 2016 or something, 2014. So like 10 years ago, I was clocking in for a shift at the mall like everybody else, man. And everybody was like, you're crazy. You're not going to do any of this stuff. You know what I mean? We'd be sitting there in the grad lounge in grad school, and I'd be doing BuzzFeed quizzes and talking about pop culture. And everybody'd be like, Aaron, aren't you concerned with like getting a job once we get out of here? And I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. And people would be like, are you sure? Like, there's not that many people that look like you that do this stuff. And I'm like, I got it. I'm going to figure it out. So to not have that discouragement be in place and to leave things in a better place of what I would want people to write about what I did,
Yeah, they will. They will. Like I said, you were a bridge for me, because I would have never probably listened to Phase Zero. The show was called Phase Zero at the time, had you not been on it. Because when I met you, I was like, oh, he's so down to earth, and I just want to support everything he does. So you've been almost like, I mean, you are an asset to that show, because you've opened the door to a whole new crop of people. I don't like the word crop. I don't like that word. Not in connection to us. A whole new group of people, So All right. So the last question is, tell us how we can support you and where to find you, your current projects. How can we support you?
Okay. So the first thing is we kind of, we're in a strange position here with the new show, with our show with the four of us together, where we had built up quite a follow. You all watched the show, y'all love the show. The celebration was so nice on social. We put out that video to tease the first episode, but as people on social media say, I need people to follow the account. I need y'all to watch the show. The way that we get guests on Phase Hero is that we can show people that people watched, people cared, the investment, the pickup from around the internet. And then publicists are like, oh, yeah, we want to really work with you. So this week, Brandon got to sit down with James Gunn and the cast of Creature Commandos to talk about DC's new era here that we're getting into that starts with Creature Commandos and we'll follow up next year with Superman. Yeah, the BD YouTube channel, Phase Hero. We have 2 different playlists on there. So that helps us tremendously. And then on social media, I am at Summit Lake Hornet on Instagram. I'm at Summit Lake Hornet on Blue Sky. I'm at Summit Lake Hornet on the bad place, however long it lasts from now on. Poor Twitter, rip Twitter. It was a fun ride while it lasted. I'm going to start another side project like Jenna has, where she does at Go Read Some Comics. That's Jenna's personal project. Jamie does Love in the Time of Hydra. So if you love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they do a great job doing week-by-week analysis. Her boyfriend has never seen the show, so we keep all the stuff a secret from him as he's reacting to it in real time like he's never seen it before. They've had Clark Gregg and some other people. I think they stop through when they were at LA Comic-Con. Like there was a lot of stuff. So there's all sorts of stuff we're doing over there. And if you keep your eye on my channels, you'll see when I announce my new project here.
We knew we needed a coach for the Lonnie story. And one of our writers, Charlie Nooner, was like, what if we use an NFL Super Pro? And I was like, who? And he was like, NFL Super Pro. So like we looked into it and we're like, okay, we should use this character. And from there it was just like, okay, we'll just call him Coach Grayfield. That's his name. Like no one will ever pick up on this reference, but we'll do it. And then like a day after the episode came out, people were like, is that NFL Super Pro? And it was like, I was unaware people knew this much about this character. But it's been really fun. And I love that we were able to like, again, throw a little small Easter egg in there that we're like, no one's going to get this. And then everyone's like, yep, there he is.
There are people waiting their entire lives, Jeff, to see NFL Super Pro realized on some kind of screen.
I've realized that now. So much power.
It is a music-based approach to the stuff we already covered.
Oh, wow.
I can tease it that way. If you love the sights and sounds of your favorite comic book movies, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, or Black Panther, or Superman, or The Dark Knight, or even Teen Titans, or Gotham, or, those TV shows from the CW era, you're going to find something to like with the thing I'm going to announce here in a little while. So that's coming. But right now, just follow the accounts, watch Phase Hero, watch us talk to Brad Winterbaum about Ironheart, watch us talk to James Gunn about DC stuff. Every view helps, and we just love being able to help in supporting other creators too. Because we're probably going to get to a point here where we start interviewing other people. And if I ever get the opportunity to sit with somebody else and hang out, especially as we get closer to Ironheart when it gets out in the summer, or whenever Yaya decides to come out of his hole and tell us what Wonder Man is about, hopefully we can talk to him together.
Yes. And I know I am not a musician. I'm more of a. I was a dancer in my
Really?
prime. But Ebony is a musician. Ebony
Oh.
is a musician. So when you do start your project, please let us know so we can support it and share it to our stories. But Ebony, she would love to maybe co-host the show with you. But yeah, she's the musician out of the two of us. Yeah. Yeah. But I could be on this. I like that too. I like it too. I like it. I like that one, and that one. Yeah, like that one too. I love the composer. I forgot his name. He's a white guy, but he did like almost a lot of the Marvel scores. Like he did Wakanda Forever.
Oh, Ludwig Göransson,
Yes, yes.
the homie. He's so nice.
I you need to get him on the show.
I
Yeah.
trust me. Him and Ryan. I just sit outside every day. I'm like, hey, if you guys just want to talk about anything, you want to talk about the weather, I'm here with a microphone if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
man.
just
I'm with you, man.
followed.
Huh?
I just follow the Phase Hero page, and I'm already following you. And so this will be when this airs, it will be January, February. So yeah, we'll be able to kind of squeeze in a clip, when I edit this into the show. So yeah.
If you had wanted to keep all the questions, I would have sat here and answered all of this stuff.
Well, let me do the lightning round with you.
Okay.
All right, let's do the lightning round. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness. Ebony did these questions. Okay, jazz or rock?
Ooh, boy. Jazz.
Okay.
Do I have to explain? Or I'm just saying one of the okay.
You can if you want to. You can.
Oh, I'm just saying rock is built off of jazz. I mean, it's like the first American art form. And it's us. It's us. Yeah. Oh man.
Yes. All of us.
Yep.
Goku or Aang?
Oh God. I'm a wash millennial.
I should say Aang. Some people say Aang.
Oh, you said Aang? Really?
Yeah, some people say. I mean, I thought it was Aang, but then some people say it was Aang. So, but Goku or Aang?
I'll go Goku. I'll not disappoint Millennial Nation. Although we love Avatar: Last Airbender in this house. I'm gonna get judged by my wife here for that.
Did you like the adaptation, the TV, the Netflix?
I talked to the composer, and it made me appreciate it more. And I just cannot believe how much more popular it is now. Like, I was watching in high school and loving it, and then it feels like now in the last 4 years, everybody just came around. I'm like, oh, well, welcome. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, we always. My husband introduced me to the Avatar. And then the movie came out, and then Korra came out, and I just wasn't excited anymore. So when I saw this one, I was like, let me see what's going on, and I loved it. We loved it, and it was only 6 episodes, I think. So it wasn't even, it didn't really give us what we needed. It didn't give us everything we wanted to see.
Yeah. They're working on season 2 right now. It's coming.
I just saw the lineup. Okay, so let's do this one. A river or a waterfall?
Waterfall.
Yeah, I like waterfalls too. I don't think I would ever. I don't think I would ever be under one. But have you ever visited a waterfall before?
I've seen them before in real life. I don't know if I'd stand under one either. Like the thing about waterfalling is it's heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people be like, oh, yeah, I don't think I'd do that. Let me think. The last one. Let me think of a good one. Let's see.
Okay.
DC or Marvel?
Oh my God! Oh my gosh! Nightwing is my name on Instagram too. Oh, Marvel, because it helped me get my friends. It was helped pay the bills for so long. I really do love, but I see the thing is, y'all gonna see Phase Hero. We're gonna talk more about DC more than we ever had the chance to before. People are like, you just biased because y'all love Marvel so much. I'm like, Justice League Unlimited is like a sacred text in this house. We own all of it on Blu-ray. All of it. So, like, when people say that, I'm like, y'all don't know my life. Y'all don't know my life. Y'all don't know my struggle. But yeah, let's go, Marvel. Brad, you can thank me. Kevin, you can thank me. You know.
Yeah, I'm a Marvel girl as well. I do. There are some characters.
Of course, Aurora. Like, yeah, come on. You know.
Yeah, and we just interviewed Muiwa Adole. I think that's how you say his name. Yeah, and I told him, I said, you are checking a lot of boxes for Black women right now. I said we were a little concerned because this is Storm's first solo series, ongoing series. There's no stop issue. They're just going to keep going. And I said we were a little concerned that we were disappointed that they didn't choose a Black woman. But I said, you are taking it to places where we really want you to go. So that was a really fun interview as well. And so I'm looking forward to seeing everything that comes. Have you read the second issue yet?
It's really, really good, but I think I was the same way. I'm like, they better not cancel this book.
Yeah.
They better not cancel this book. I think y'all need to keep this book going for a while. I think that would be great.
I think because he's already going there with the story. So why not just keep going? And I would love to see some other characters, some other Black women come up into the storyline. So yeah, obviously he couldn't tell us everything, but he sent us issue 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, I said I cannot. I said you bringing in. You bringing in the heavy guns with issue 2, so I can't imagine what he has in store for.
Right. My dream is always to get Stephanie to write Storm
Williams.
Yeah,
Stephanie now.
A dream. But I'm like, we don't get good things. We don't get good things. He's doing a great job. Like, don't get me wrong too. But I was like, 4 years ago, when I was really heavy on comics Twitter, I was like, Steph was put on this earth. I would fall out of my chair if she's like, okay, here's Storm, and here's Riri, and here's Monica Rambeau, and here's Misty Knight. It would be so cool. But of course, like I said, we can't. Maybe one day.
Have you read her Living Heroes?
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's somewhere down in this thing. We had her on the pod some months back, and she's a phenomenal writer, very versatile, she doesn't just write in one genre, which is a gift. I told her, I said, not a lot of writers can do that. And I said, I know I couldn't do that. And she was like, you'd be surprised what you can do. I said, Stephanie, she writes everything, and I think her strength is comedy.
Yeah.
And so I would just love to see her be a writer for one of these Disney Plus shows. I really want to see her work on TV. So, but yeah, Stephanie's real cool, very down to earth. She's a good writer, and there's other great writers. But I told I gotta pronounce his name good. Mariwa. I'm not saying it right at all, but I was just saying to him that you're doing a good job. We need to see Storm in her braids at some point. It could be 3 cornrows, right? I said we need that moment. We need that moment. I said, that is what we need to see. I said, if you advocate for that, and work with the artist and the editor and advocate for that, yeah, you got
You
the women on your side.
I like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I saw like the first one. I was like, oh man, oh wow.
Yeah, and
Better
her
than we can
hair is
hope.
textured. Her hair is textured, not
Yeah.
straight. I mean, she up in rain and it's straight. Who drew this?
There's been
So
so much talk now because of 97 and Deadpool about what it's going to be when they do her live action. I'm like, I don't think the internet's prepared. I'm
I
like,
don't.
whatever the
I
casting
don't,
comes
and
down.
I kind of think that's why they didn't bring Halle Berry back, because they didn't want people to kind of associate, okay, this is going to be a light skinned storm. I think they know that they got to do a chocolate storm. Like they know that's not a question. But now who they're going to get to play her is different, a whole different story. So
I
I
told
just hope we did a show on who we want to see.
oh
We want to see. Okay, I never can remember her name, but she played in Them.
yeah,
You know
okay,
the actress I'm talking about.
yeah,
Let me see. Let me see if I can pronounce her name. Deborah. Are you
right.
are you
You're
Linden?
ending. Yeah,
Yeah, Deborah. We would love to see her. Um, Sky Marshall. Um,
popular pick.
what was her? And there was another one. She's beautiful, has a beautiful skin. Her last name is Turner.
So
Um, oh my goodness, I forget her name. She was married to Joshua Jackson, and they got divorced.
you talk about the one that was in the Alkalite?
Yeah.
Chloe Turner Smith.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
So
man.
she just, there's plenty of actresses to choose from. So I just hope Marvel does the right thing and choose the right actress. Because if I see if I see another light skinned storm, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I do not know what I'm gonna do.
Miss Seraphin be on her job. I have a little bit of faith. She be cooking. People have said a lot of things the last 4 years. I'm like, I'm not here for she's like the leader of the casting department over Marvel Studios. And I'm like, she been on a tear. Iman Vellani and some like Dominique as Riri, like she been on a tear, y'all. I don't think she dropped the ball. I feel like they have the internet over there in Burbank. they know what's going on.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So they just better do Storm right. They better do the X-Men
well,
right.
I'm so happy I was able to come through and help, because when you said it, I was like, you would. The weekend was so busy. I'm like, I need to figure out if I can do this somehow. And I'm glad we figured out a time frame that made sense.
I'm happy. I'm happy too, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule, to do our humble little podcast. So
Oh, come on. And the thing is, also, we got to support each other. We have to. Like, who knows what's about to go down? Who knows what's about to happen? I'm like, you might as well. You better get every black person you know and be like, listen, the people we can trust. You just don't know. You're just like, wow, Because I was sitting there like, for a minute there, it's a little scared when they announced that they were cutting down on content and that Ironheart hadn't come out yet, and I was like,
I know
crazy stuff happens all the time.
I was surprised Ironheart, because I read a year or two ago that it wasn't coming, but I think they just threw it out there just to give us no expectations, and now that it's coming, we're like,
I also, well, and this is like, like this is speculation. I don't have any sourcing, but the VFX department during the first 2 years, 2020, 2021, like they really under the gun, really under duress. And apparently Brad said with us on the record that the time actually helped the show quite a bit. So that's good. But also I just was like, you can't really just toss a $200 million project or $100 million project in the bin because you don't feel confident. Like, that's not a thing. You're not Warner Brothers. Like, this ain't Batgirl. We're not just gonna throw it in the trash. Like, what is that? And also, I don't agree with that either. I was like, they did that girl wrong. They're wrong. You know, the guys who directed Miss Marvel directed that movie and they threw it in the garbage. And I was like, $200 million? Just like that? Like, really? Okay. So I was like, please, Marvel, don't throw it away. Just, even if it's not perfect, I'd rather it be out in the world and something people can experience and see rather than just being like, we don't believe in it no more. Because my parents, they focus on education and stuff. So I spend a lot of time in the library, and you know what young readers are reading? Freaking Ironheart, Ms. Marvel, and the X-Men. Those are like big titles amongst especially younger women viewers and young women readers. I'm like, you can't afford to just be like, oh, we're not doing this because it costs too much money. I'm like, how are you ever going to attract the young demographics? So, it can't just be Panther. There's got to be something else.
And you got to have the writers. Like, they had a Black woman writing it. And then you have I'm not familiar with Eve Ewing's work as a director, but you got Ryan Coogler on there, who we know is those episodes are going to be out of this world. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, at some point we have to stop saying we're taking risks and just and take accountability. Take accountability when it comes to, did you have the right writer, and did you have the right director, and did you have a budget? Those are the three things that matter. It doesn't have anything to do with the person that you put in in those roles. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot line. Is you just have to make sure that you have a strong team to bring it to life. And a lot of those, like even with Loki, when I was watching like the making of how they do like the symbols. He added a lot to the script. Tom Hiddleston added a lot to the script. He had this script and he said, you know what, Loki actually would do this instead of this. So, given the actors license to also beef up the script, so.
Well, Tom's got a lot of cash. He 12, 15 years into this thing. So if he's like, hey, I want to do this, they're like, okay, he'll do what he wants to do. I think you're right, though. There is a level of, if the production really is moving forward and you feel confident about it, it'll do things. I remember we get all those goofy comments 2 years ago, even a year ago. Poor Jamie out there on the island, and I joined her after a while, where she was like, Agatha's going to be good. Like, all of you are doubting this. It's going to be good. And then it comes out, and it was really good to the point where, like, it's one of the better received Marvel things of the last 4 years. I'm like, it really don't matter. As long as everything is airtight, it can be a random character that only has this many comic appearances. There's because people can say, what is this show even going to be about? There's no real stuff with Agatha Harkness that isn't related to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, let it play out. Let it play out. It could be good. Jack Schaefer was out here throwing fireballs with WandaVision. Let it play out. And then you see. So, and I think your thing with Coogler, too, I'm like, proximity doesn't put out bad things, guys. Like, the Creed 3 was really good. I know we don't want to talk about it because of what happened with John, but I was like, whoa, it's a good movie. Like, both the other ones, Panther 2, like, Judas and the Black Messiah, like, these are good films. He don't put his name on stuff that isn't good. Like, are you sure? Because, the comments like, no one cares about Ironheart. No one really cares about this stuff. And it's usually just racist, so you let it go. But I'm like, you gotta, y'all, I'm like, y'all gonna get challenged the next couple years with this whole nobody asked for this thing.
Yeah, Ironheart's going to be one of the bigger projects next year. Yeah. I firmly believe that.
And then, I mean, Sam, I don't know what to expect about that either. I have no idea. I have no inside information. I just hope it. I'm like, ooh, boy, they need this to be good. And Julius, as nice as a man as he is, he got pulled into this thing midstream. And Marcus Spellman as a writer, there are parts of Talking Winter Soldier that were like, I could have dealt with a little bit more. Like when they said he was writing the fourth one, I was like, you sure about that? Like, you positive? Like, because I'm like, it's Sam. Like, I feel some sort of like ownership over it. It's not mine. So it'll be interesting. All this stuff. We had a little year this year where there wasn't as much stuff to focus on. Like the release schedule wasn't what it was in 22 or 21. Next year we right back to it.
Yeah.
Like
y'all got a lot more to cover too in y'all show.
Right. I mean, Peacemaker, the Lantern show is filming right now. I think like Superman, Fantastic Four, Cap, Ironheart, Daredevil for like 9 weeks or something crazy like that. It's so much longer than most of these shows are. I'm like, we're gonna be busy, guys. I'm like, there'll be other stuff going on, but we'll have a lot of work to like kind of get us through as well because it is so much. And people are like, it's funny too because people kept saying there's too much, and then we go to next year and it's a couple different characters, a couple more white dudes in there, and suddenly it's not too much. That's not a problem. I had to notice it. I joke around about it obliquely on the show because I'm like, y'all was screaming about it being too much when it was women and black people and brown people. And the second we got back to, Charlie Cox and them on my screen, now we don't got nothing to say. Now everything's fine that there's 9 shows on or whatever. Okay. I see how y'all do. I see how y'all go.
The year Miss Marvel came out, and then She-Hulk came out. It was like it's just random stuff. Nobody is asking for this. Well, I asked for it.
Jenna Anderson has been waiting her entire natural born life for a She-Hulk show. I can say one person was waiting for it. You know what I mean? Like people, but
we're going to see She-Hulk. We'll definitely see her, especially in Secret Wars. I know we're going to see her in that. We got to see her in that because I hope it. I mean, they probably will end in multi. I could go on all day, Aaron, about Marvel, but I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna I'm gonna let you go. And thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
When you go to publish this, whenever it comes out, just let me know, and I'll do promo from my side too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, Carla. I'll talk to you later.
Good night. See you on IG.
Yes.